You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show.
Woohoo! I'm glad we get to hear this now because we didn't get to hear it during
I know. The theme song. All right, guys, Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another episode of Mob Wives Season 3. We got the episode 14 reunion. This is the last episode, Roxy.
I know.
And I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and I'm joined here by
Roxy Striar.
And we are here to chat about Mob Wives, our favorite television show, our favorite women on TV, and we've got our reunion.
Yeah, overall, a little underwhelming.
I have to agree.
And I'm a little surprised they didn't stick to season 3, and I felt like season 3 was such a great season, so there was so much to talk about. And I really just thought that Dr. Drew just couldn't get a grasp on the situation.
Can we address the Dr. Drew situation here right at the beginning?
I don't know what the deal was. He just couldn't. He was like, settle down, ladies, settle down. And they were like, ah!
I'm a huge Dr. Drew fan.
I know.
I love him. I've listened to him since he was on Loveline, and he's just fantastic. I really like him. I don't think this is the best use of his talents.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was the best choice of host for this show.
I can only understand about 50% of what was going on.
I know.
Because
he needed to manage the women better. And granted, these women are all over the place, but I think someone else, I don't know who, I think somebody else could have done it.
Couldn't you have pictured like The Miz or somebody?
Someone.
You know, just somebody more like rough and edgy.
And maybe a woman, I don't know, but it would have to be somebody that the women all respect. And I'm not saying they don't respect Dr. Drew, but like, he's not in like their circle of their world. And there needed to be a different host because I think that was part of the problem of the show. Like you said, I couldn't understand half. I had to rewind the TiVo like a million different times just to like get what they were saying.
And yelling things that I've never even heard come up as conflict before. And I'm like, wait, where is this coming from? It seemed like there was so much there that I wanted to know.
I know.
But I didn't get to.
And we're on the outside looking in. Could I be able to control those women? No. Could you? No.
Right.
It would be a very, very, very difficult task. But I just think that somebody else, they could have picked someone different.
You know, that being said, though, I've been a part of screenings of after shows before and reunion shows. And usually, what we see is an hour-long show.
Yeah.
What they film is 8 hours long.
Yep.
So usually a producer will come in and be like, ladies, they'll stop the show. They'll be like, ladies, you cannot talk over each other because the audience can't understand. Your turn now. If not, if you don't behave, we're going to have to do it separately, separate interviews.
Yeah.
Clearly that didn't happen, or if it did, it was not effective.
That's true.
So I was curious how their filming process took place, but I don't know the answer.
Yeah. The editing, I mean, that was bad. And I think that is what resulted in a finale or a reunion that was just so-so.
Right.
It could have been better. I think it could have been a lot better. First of all, I mean, the biggest component of this is that Love was missing.
Which was strange to me because at the top of the episode, they say, Love's gone. Love is not here, and we'll address that later on.
Yeah.
And unless it went right over my head, we never did address that later on. I don't know if it was a legal issue, if it was a monetary issue.
It sounded like she was fired.
Right.
That's the sense that I got later on when I think Karen or somebody mentioned, Ramona mentioned about her job, like this, like her, and maybe she got fired, maybe the way she acted, the way she lashed out at Carla and just attacked. I don't know, because so many of the women fight each other. Like, why was that one different than other circumstances?
See, when she said lost her job, I thought she meant her job with the makeup line that she has.
Loves?
Yeah.
I actually
didn't
thought
know.
the TV show.
That
But
makes more
it could be
sense.
interpreted different ways. But I would think being on a national television show would be something more to lose than
Oh, of
whatever else she
course,
was
I would
doing.
agree, but I don't know.
Yeah,
The bottom
I don't
line
know.
is I
We
don't
don't
know.
know.
Right. Like,
Yeah, we're guessing here.
I'm sure it will come out
Yeah.
in days to come,
Yeah.
weeks to come, whatever it is. But as of now, I don't know exactly for what reason she's no longer on the show.
Yeah, I don't know either. So let's just kind of go through it. I think we should just kind of go through each of the women and kind of talk how things were discussed during the reunion. There are a bunch of different topics that were thrown in there and brought up, and we'll kind of trying to manage this episode as best we can with all the craziness going on.
Right.
So, with Big Ange, there wasn't a lot to talk about with her. She really didn't have too much to say except for the fact that she thought that Love was crazy, which all the women seem to share that sentiment.
Right. It was one of the biggest disappointments of the episode. Big
Yeah.
Ange is one of our favorite characters.
Yeah, she is. I love
And
Big Ange.
we didn't even get her input on a lot of the other women.
I know. Well, she did say that she did not like Ramona's choice of marrying that guy, I forget his name, Angel. So she did. She spoke about that. But for the most part, yeah, we didn't see or hear much from Big Ange at this reunion, unfortunately. So let's talk a little bit about Renee.
Okay.
They brought up the situation with, of course, her addiction and her addressing that. What do you think about that?
And they brought AJ on the show.
Yeah, they did.
Renee has officially made it to one of my top females on television right now.
Oh, on television.
Straight up.
Wow.
I love between Renee and Drita.
Are you
obviously,
trying
I
to
love
make
them all.
nice to the future mother-in-law?
Seriously. Yeah. But not only that, I think Renee's awesome. I think she tells it how it is. I think she tries to be fair and not taking sides, but really looking at the situation. And I think she's emotional. I think she looks great on TV. I think that she's brought AJ on the show and she was saying I'm an awful mom and Drita chimes in. She's like, look at what you've done. Look how amazing AJ is. Mm-hmm. Amen, sister. Because look how and
100%
look how amazing
agree.
Yeah, and I could not agree more. But I just thought she looked great. She's true to herself. Like if I tried to wear what she wore, I would look hideous. But like she rocks it, and her blue sparkles, and she just like I don't know. I just think she rocks who she is, and she was a drug addict, and I guess once a drug addict, always a drug addict, but she's clean and sober now. She's really trying hard. She speaks the truth about it. She was like, I've been clean before, and you know what happens? I mess up, and then I'm disappointed, and then I feel guilty, and then I use again, and then it's this vicious cycle. But it seems like she's been clean for a while now. I definitely believe her. If you look at her, she seems clean. Mm-hmm. So I really love her.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed by her behavior during this episode. Like you said, she just seems very clear-headed. She really takes the side of trying to understand like where everyone else is coming from. She just seems to, I don't know, she was just really in her own, I think, during this. And her behavior was, it was really evident because it was so different than so many of the other women.
Right.
You know?
And I almost felt bad when she's like, let me talk.
Oh my God. She was one point where she was trying to make a point and she never actually was able to. And I wanted to know what she wanted to say.
Because Ramona would not shut the F up.
And Dr. Drew could not handle her.
And could not handle her. Exactly. And I'm sitting there like, please let her speak. Let her speak. And clearly she's one of the few who knows how to make good television because once she realized Ramona wasn't going to stop, she pulled back because I think in their normal lives, she would have been like, Ramona, shut the F up and let me talk. Yeah. But on the show, she's not going to say that. So she's like, okay, I need to let them hear. So I guess I'm going to be the one to duck back.
Or maybe Renee's grown up a lot. Maybe in her, even who she is at home, maybe she would just, things change when you're going through this whole process of her addiction and the rehab and all that. Maybe it's changed her a little bit. And, I agree with you. I loved how she was so open and honest about her past, how she had been fighting this for a long time, how she's relapsed in the past and, the whole situation with AJ and how, that comes into play. I think she was great. I have to agree. I think she was great during this episode and I'm a big fan of hers now. I had gone back and forth throughout the different seasons, but I think think she's just
She won me over.
yeah, me too. Real, she's really ending up as like a real classy lady. I think she looks great. I love the way her eye makeup looks. Just as a side note.
Yeah, no, me too.
The
That's what I'm
bling.
saying.
Yeah, she looks awesome. So, and then it was brought up between the situation between Renee and Carla a little bit, and the whole butter knife, and it looked like they really kind of made amends too at the situation.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Well, no, but a lot of the aftermath of that was discussed during this season. So
It's
I
true.
understand that happened, but the whole aftermath and everything was really, a lot of it came into play this season.
I guess it was, but I don't know. I just felt like they were like pulling for things here,
Yeah,
and
I
more
think so,
drama
too.
and whatever.
And maybe which is why it got resolved so easily and quickly. Like Carla apologized, which was cool, and
Yeah.
and she apologized, and I think that was good.
I think that Renee and Carla are actually more chummy than they seem.
Maybe.
And they need to be like enemies more for the show, because you see at different times they're both like, we've been friends for a while,
Yeah.
and they do stand up for each other, and I don't
That's
know.
true.
I can't tell exactly. Like, I wonder what their real relationship looks like.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. All right, so we'll move on to Drita, and
One of my other
I
absolute
love Drita.
favorites.
She's been my favorite from the beginning.
Yep.
But they did talk a little bit. They didn't stress too much about it, but they talked a little bit how she's kind of like her crazy's gone. Like she's not as crazy anymore. She's kind of grown up from there, and she admitted it. But a lot of the focus with Drita was, of course, her.
With Lee.
Yeah, her husband Lee, and him coming out of jail.
Right, and we learned that, I mean, we already knew this here, but we learned that we're never going to see him on the show.
Yep.
It's an audience question, it's answered. And I respect that, and I
Yeah.
like the way that she phrased it. I think that Drita is another person who really tries to see all sides of the story.
Yeah.
She didn't just bash on Love, but she was like pissed about it,
She
but
is.
she wasn't saying bad things about her personally, Drita looked awesome. Drita's well-spoken.
Mm-hmm.
There was not really much wrong with her. I'm excited she let Lee back into her life. It seems to be going well. She's making up for it in the bedroom, apparently.
Yeah, but speaking of that, it was interesting how they kind of touched a little bit about the fact that Lee didn't, like, he admitted to the affair and then didn't admit
that
to the
was
affair.
weird.
I thought that was weird because she says he feels very guilty about missing, the girls kind of growing up and everything, but and someone asked her, well, does he feel guilty about the affair? And she's like, no. He's like, now he's even denying it.
I think that in order to move on, you need to come clean. And if you're still not, it's sketchy.
Yeah. It's totally sketch because there's something then still there that's unresolved.
Right.
And what happens is that over time, that little crack in the foundation will grow into a huge
How
problem.
do you feel about once a cheater, always a cheater as an expression?
It's I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth about that. That's not one where I have a clear opinion
Yeah.
about it because it's case by case. For the most part, I'd say just as a blanket statement, yeah. I mean, someone who's willing to lie, someone who's willing to go there, then it's hard to trust them in the future, and they could and probably very easily will make that same move again.
It makes me nervous for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that it's definitely for other reasons that he doesn't want to be on TV. But if he was ready to be like completely open and honest about everything going on in his life, I feel like he still has things he's hiding.
Yeah, because you see, I understand and respect not wanting to be on television, like you said. I get that, but make an appearance. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone knows kind of who you are. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, make an appearance so we can see you, but maybe, like we talked about before, I mean, just because she's chosen to, like she said, sell your privacy doesn't mean he have to. And I like the way she phrased it. It's like she owned it. She's like, we've sold our privacy. We've sold every right that
Yeah.
we've had to anything private. And some people hold that very sacred and they don't want to do that. And, Lee's apparently one of them. So, yeah. That's it with Drita. Not too much.
Really,
they
that
didn't talk
was-
about a makeup store or anything like that. So, I mean, I think Drita there wasn't a lot going on.
And I would have
with
loved
her.
to hear about that.
Yeah, I know what's going on next with that. And this could have been, if this was done right, this could have
Could've been
easily been
great.
2 episodes. They could have stretched it out. They could have really spent some time talking about each of the women because I think there's so much material that wasn't covered and things that weren't talked about.
I don't think we should have had all 6 women on the couch to start.
No, you have to. I mean, haven't you seen the Housewives of all Beverly Hills,
No,
Miami?
I think we should have eventually, but I think we should have gone 3 women, then 6 women. Like,
With
I
this
wanted
group,
to hear.
yeah.
It was too much. I couldn't hear every voice, and I wanted to.
And I wanted to. That's the thing. Being so invested in the women the whole season and the last few seasons, like I always look forward to the reunion shows because you just never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
And then this one was like, I don't know. So all right. So now let's talk a little bit about Karen. And there's a lot of things kind of with Karen, and they talked about mainly her relationship with Dave.
And they brought Dave out.
They did bring him out,
which I really appreciated.
I like that.
AJ and Dave were much needed distractions from like the guy. I was like, yes, boys.
I agree. It's like the women calmed down a little bit when they were there. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that Dave owned that he was wrong.
I like Dave.
I love Dave.
I love Dave.
When he said, when Ramona goes to him, are you still in love with Karen? And he said,
No.
I felt a little heartbroken.
I did too.
I think that Karen felt a little, oof.
Yeah. Well, what's he supposed to say? I mean, that's a very distinctive choice to say, yes, I'm still in love with her.
Right.
I mean, especially who knows what he has going on with Rebecca, I think her name is, and all that.
Yeah, then Becky.
Becky, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't expecting him to say yes, but I was hoping he'd say, you never know what's going to happen in the future, but as of now, I'm happy with my, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that still caused problems. I mean,
Definitely would
imagine if
cause
you're
problems in
dating
his
someone.
life.
Yeah.
But in my life, it would feel good. And that's all I care about.
As a viewer, as a fan, I will want them together.
Yeah, no, but I think they have a great relationship. I think they would make a great couple, and that's why I'm saying that. Like, I don't know, but I was happy hearing any guy anywhere in the world say, I was wrong. That's like 1 in a million.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't like, and then Renee was kind of egging that on. Like, come on, dude, just say you're wrong. And
Right. She's like, I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah, that was cute. I thought that was cute the way she did that, actually. But yeah, no, he came in, he said he was wrong, and, you know, it seemed like things were fine between them. And, you know, they talk a little bit about now Karen is still with Storm.
But then we don't hear anything about him.
Yeah.
All we hear is, are you still with Storm? Yes, I am.
Yeah. Like, what does that mean?
Is there a follow-up question you would like to ask Dr. Drew?
Nope, not Dr. Drew. No, did not want to get into it. Maybe they didn't want to get into it.
Do you want to know what I think it is?
What?
I think Dr. Drew is not a fan of the show. I don't think he watches. And when you get a host that doesn't watch the show, all they can really do is ask. You can always tell. And all you can really do is ask the questions that
are
given.
presented to you. Yep.
You know, like if I'm not saying that we would do a better job in terms of calming the women down, but like if you are a true fan of the show, if you really watch.
See, I would have a hard time believing that Dr. Drew, I think he has hosted the reunions in the last reunion, I think. I have a hard time believing that just as a job requirement, he didn't watch it. I mean, that's
I would
just
say
foolish.
he's seen some things, but I don't think he's a fan of the show.
Maybe
and
not.
I think you can tell, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because how do you not ask as a follow-up, oh, you're still with Storm?
Well, maybe he did, and they cut it out.
That's
like you
true.
said, they film 8 hours. They only have so much space. So
gotta be fair to our boy
trying
Drew.
to give Dr. Drew a benefit of the doubt. And okay, so then they talk a little bit about Ramona and Karen. And you know, Karen stands by her sentiment that she, in order to be a true friend, she just has to tell it like it is. And you know, that was pretty much there. They didn't really go too much into that issue also.
Yep.
And then not really. And then Karen does talk a little about, you do really get a sense that she just really dislikes Carla. And she kind of said that. She's like, I don't like her.
I can't help but understand. Like,
I know. There's something.
I think that it's really wrong that Ramona bashed on Carla for her looks. First of all,
yes, that's a low blow.
First of all, because it's a low blow.
And
Second of all, because Carla's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it makes her, honestly, you're right. It makes Ramona look dumb because Carla's hot. Like, she's pretty, she's good looking. Like, it just makes Ramona look
Ramona's
insecure.
like, you're not 47. Like, who cares? Why would you do that?
No. But is she 47?
If she is, damn, she looks good.
No way is she 47.
Whatever, she looks amazing. Like,
amazing. When she said that, I was like, what?
Yeah, insane. But regardless.
She looks hot.
Yeah, she is. She looks really good.
Yeah, regardless.
I'm just saying, like, I understand attacking people for things they've done.
Behavior,
personality traits, things that they can choose, your looks. And I've done that before too. And I actually,
we're all guilty.
2 years ago, I did that on AfterBuzz, and I learned the hard way. Like,
oh really?
You don't do that.
Yeah,
it's wrong. And she's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. So in both ways, you know. And maybe Ramona's watching this. She's like, I shouldn't have done that. And sometimes you say things in the heat of the moment. And sometimes you don't like somebody, and you say something you don't mean.
Yeah.
Or you mean it, but you wish you didn't say it.
I think she means it, and I think she wanted to say it. Because she said it multiple times throughout the episode. She did low blows and bashed her looks multiple times. So it wasn't just one statement. So, but anyways, back to Karen. you know, a whole thing came up about Carla disrespecting her and her family, and Karen's father saved something. And you just get the sense that there's things that run deep, and this Karen and Carla just really don't get along.
There's
like
so
at the
much
root of
history.
it. Yeah.
And we don't know it. And
No.
come on, Drew. I needed the follow-up
Yeah.
question here. No,
Yeah.
and like you're saying, maybe he did, but and a lot of it just a little confusing, and I want to know, where did this all start? What is the root of this all?
You know, I don't know. We don't know that, because some of these things were so random and thrown out there. But all right, so then I think that's pretty much it with Karen. And then Ramona now. I'd say Ramona was the worst behaved by far
I
of
completely
this
agree.
group, like in this episode.
She couldn't get her stuff together.
No.
She just couldn't.
She was the one that caused, I think, a lot of the just the bad behavior during this episode.
Honestly, going into this, I was like, I understand why Ramona and Karen dislike Carla.
Yeah.
Now I understand why Carla dislikes Ramona.
Yeah.
Like, and vice versa. It's just, we're saving the two, Ramona and Carla, the people we're talking about at the end, are the two people that I was like, watching this, and both of them, I was like,
I don't know if I like you.
mm.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I hate these women. It's like, oh, ladies, like, I expect more from you.
Yeah,
Come on.
mature
like,
up. Like, grow up.
You're both mothers.
Yeah. And it's just disappointing, because there's you know, parts of Ramona and parts of Carla I like
Me
and I
too.
want to like, but Ramona was just really, it's just she talked over everybody. She had
all
no
about her.
respect for anybody else. It's all about her, all about what she thinks, and it just honestly made her look bad.
She doesn't know how to listen, and when you don't know how to listen, then you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
At point blank, like, if all you can do is talk, and when your best friend is sitting there saying, let me say something, please let me talk, and you don't care, you just want to keep talking,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
then it's not a reunion show, it's the Ramona show.
It's the Ramona show. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was the Ramona show. And, you know, they caught up a little bit with Ramona and her situation with her guy still in jail. And it's still weird. I mean, she's like,
One of the audience questions was, how long are you willing to wait for your husband?
yeah,
And she says she doesn't know.
yeah.
So I feel like that is so different than the rest of the things she's been saying. I feel like she was going to say forever. He's the love of my life. It's not what she said. It's not that I blame her. It's just like, again, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? And it seems that no one really agrees with her decision. No one. Like Karen,
Right.
I mean, not Karen. Like Drita was like, you know, she's like, I feel for her. It sucks, but you have no support. You don't have anything. And even Dr. Drew brought up, you know, one of your daughters wasn't in agreement with this whole situation.
Right. And Nisa was pissed about it.
Yeah.
And but I also like that this is finally when we hear Big Ann speak up about something. And she says that she did this for a while with her husband and brought her kids back and forth, whatever. And she's like, this is no joke.
No.
And it does look like Ramona thinks that this, not as a joke, but she doesn't take it seriously. She's like, listen, this is no joke. And at the very end of the episode, as we're fading out, Ramona's laughing about the fact she's like, I have no conjugal visits. And it's like that's not.
And this is like a life, it's choice. Conjugal. Yeah.
No conjugal. Sorry, what did I say? You have no conjugal visits. I mean, like, so you're just blatantly, he could be in there for
10 years,
decades,
yeah.
and you can't see him, you can't sleep with him, you can't bring your kids to be in an intimate setting with him. Like,
what's the point? You know, at the end of the day, I understand, like, it's like she's got the mentality of like love conquers all, but it's like, look at how that affects every single part of your life. Your daughters, your chance of even getting another guy that could be a better influence or better fit for the family. Somebody who's there, someone who's supportive. Like, I understand, okay, this is the love of your life, but you're willing to make so many sacrifices, and at the end of the day, what does she get from it?
but what I'm saying, that's a good point, and I don't know what she does get from it, but if that is the way she's thinking, I'm willing to make all these sacrifices. When the question is asked, how long are you willing to wait? The answer needs to be forever.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're willing to do that, you
and
should
if
do
it's
it forever.
not forever, then you're not willing to the extent you need to be to give up everything you're about to give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was, to me, off-putting.
Yeah. Totally. It was. And it just then makes you, just seeing that decision from an outsider's perspective, just kind of make you like question just everything about her. Like, you know, like this is, that's how she makes her decisions and that's what
Absolutely.
she chooses to do, you're like, I don't know.
What about the fact that she then, we obviously missed something because then she invites Carla to the wedding?
Yeah. I think she was just kind of saying like, oh, I don't even know what she was doing.
Like, when this happens, everybody
Erica
can
can come.
Carla,
Even Carla. And then,
Like, what?
it was like, okay. And that was weird. That was just for show.
Bizarre. Yeah, I don't
Bizarre
even know.
and weird. And then, and what's interesting, though, is that, like, Carla and Ramona have beef, but over what? Nothing really.
I don't
That's
know,
the thing.
but one of my favorite, and by favorite I mean least favorite and most vulgar quotes from Ramona about Carla. So I can toothpick you
Oh my
after I
God.
eat your skin off because you're that annoying to me.
After I eat you, yeah.
After I eat your skin off.
That was so awful. Like,
Another one of Ramona's great
Yeah.
quotes to Carla. I don't care who she fucked or sucked. I don't care where she's fiending for semen.
Oh my
It's
God.
none of my business.
oh my God.
Okay, thank you, Ramona.
Yeah, some of those comments, you're watching it and you're thinking, oh my God. I mean, no matter how much I hate or detest a person, I will never stoop to that level of being that vulgar and being that vile.
Especially sober. What's your excuse?
And in front of a national audience.
Right.
I wouldn't even do that in private without anybody watching, let alone.
I completely agree.
It's just, you're just like, come on,
I
really?
completely agree.
That was so unnecessary. It just makes you look bad. It makes all the women look bad, unfortunately, because it's just kind of, they're all lumped together as the
Right,
mob wives.
the mob
you know?
wives.
This is how they act. And
Dude, I've tried to get so many of my friends to watch the show.
people are like, oh.
They're like the mob. I'm like, you don't
Yeah, me
understand.
too.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
People are like, you like that show? It's like, yeah, I like it.
And they're like, what kind of show do you watch? I name shows. They're like, wow, you watch all amazing TV. Like, I have a repertoire of maybe 50 shows.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not even kidding.
It's a lot of shows.
Emmy winning, critically acclaimed, whatever it is. And yeah, I also
You
do
pride
reality.
yourself on your television
Yes,
selection.
it is an important thing
yes,
to me.
yes.
And I don't go into shows lightly. I get recommendations. I read reviews. I do whatever. This show is worth your time.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It's
And
really
I hope
that
it'll
good.
be back for another season.
I know. I know. Can we talk more about Carla though? Because there are a couple things.
Oh,
that-
we're not. We haven't even started talking about Carla.
I know.
Are we done with? We're done with Ramona. Though,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think we've.
Okay. What was
Okay.
the deal with this Carla thing with this married man? And I
Yeah.
quote Carla, I did not know he was 100% married.
And I love. I think it
Honey.
was Renee who was like, "What's 100% married?"
Honey, married is what are you talking about 100%?
Yeah.
She's like, I mean 100%, like living together with kids
Separated.
and not separated and married, like with the ring and stuff. She didn't actually sound like that, but that's what she sounded like in my head.
Yeah. It just made her look like it didn't help her argument.
Either
So she
say,
like explained the situation as if like, okay, let me explain what really happened. And at the end of it, you're like, ew, that's what happened?
either say, yes, I did. I
Yeah.
slept with a married man.
Yeah.
Or say,
Own it.
or say,
Oh, he was separated.
he was separated.
Yeah.
Don't say, I didn't know he was 100% married.
Yeah.
Did you think he was 72% married?
Yeah.
Was he like 49% married?
Maybe he was more like 88.
Did you ask
I don't
him? And he
know.
was like, oh, I'm only 16% married. And she was like, oh, okay then.
Then let's do it.
Yeah. Like that to me was like, whatever.
That's my threshold. All right, let's do it.
And then the crazier thing that happened with Carla to me, this was between Carla and Renee, going back to that, was this whole thing about the love incident when Renee was like, you leaned in on her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to take Carla's back on this one. You leaned in on her?
Okay. You know,
Really?
here's the thing.
Really?
I actually kind of agreed with Renee in the situation, and even Drita said something to the effect similar to Renee, not exactly that, but basically their point was, you're playing with fire.
Right.
You know this person is crazy. You know her behavior. You know who she is. Why do you act surprised when she comes and beats you up? Why, a scorpion's a scorpion.
Right, I completely get that, and I think you don't try to egg her on. You don't try to. But if you watch the video, to me, it doesn't look like she's leaning in on her. She was like, they were sitting across the table. She's like sitting down.
I think she did try and show her something. She kind of looked.
It was
and
like the text.
It did
but she
look
was
like
showing her a text. Like, how do you not lean in on a text?
I honestly though, if I were Carla, I would not have sat that close to her. I wouldn't have. And I agreed with Renee. When a snake is a snake, it's a snake. I would not have been that closer.
But does that make it your fault for...
It doesn't make it your fault, but when you're dealing with crazy and you're the rational one, in some ways, you're more responsible for the situation when you're dealing with crazy.
I'm just starting to think
if
that
she's
love
supposedly
is...
the responsible one, she's not the crazy one. She's the one that has her head on straight. She shouldn't. First of all, she shouldn't have talked to her at all. I know Karen kind of set it up or whatever, but if I were Carla, I would have been like, no, I'm not talking to her unless the producers forced her to or whatever. And even Drita said, like, no, I wouldn't have talked to her. Knowing who she is, it's not the time or the place. We're not going to do it.
Well, if I was going to talk to her, I would have made sure that Drita or Big Ange was there.
And we talked about this during that last episode. I would not have done it alone.
But I just think
I would have covered my back, and I would have acted differently. In some ways, you wonder if Carla was. I don't think she was asking for it, but she wasn't doing anything to prevent it.
Yeah, but it's like people have been saying this forever. A girl wears a really short skirt, and then guys holler at her down the street. Whose fault is it?
Yeah, but there's circumstances. If you're like, I agree. There's no right for a guy to act like a jerk, or no right for a guy to treat a woman in any way bad. But, if I'm, in a certain situation that might seem dangerous or might seem not the best place for me to sport a super, super short skirt, I probably wouldn't want to, or I probably would try not to.
I agree with that.
And sometimes you're thrown in a circumstance, you're in a dress or whatever, you don't know. It's a time and a place.
I don't think Carla took every measure possible to not be beat up.
Okay.
So I'm definitely agreeing with you on that. I'm just saying, I don't know. I think that...
You're saying that Karen should hold not Karen, Love should hold most of the blame.
I definitely think Love holds the majority of the blame.
I think so too.
And I just think that these other girls, just because Love is crazier out loud, I'm starting to think that Carla's a little crazy,
I think Carla's
too.
a little crazy. I think she is too. I mean, second to Ramona, Carla's behavior was pretty bad on this.
It was really bad.
She gets very defensive and she fights and she doesn't allow people to speak and she just, I don't know, it's like a chihuahua, like,
I mean, Ramona called her out and Ramona's like, you like blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I defend myself. And I'm like, AKA blah, blah, blah. Like,
I mean, it's hard to listen to. It's hard to take her side because she has a lot of really good points. I think she was wronged here in the situation. And all the women agreed. Yeah. They all agreed. And I like that, too. They all agreed that Love was crazy.
I know.
They said she was crazy. If she had crazy behavior, there was something cuckoo about her. They all agreed.
If you're not on YouTube watching right now, you're not going to be able to see this. But this is like what, to me, encompasses Carla. Like lemon face, like the whole like I'm
stink
uptight
face,
and
yeah,
and I'm just like enough,
just
like be you and chill.
I
And
don't know, maybe that is her.
That is her
because you're right. She has this like just like look to her and like and it's like she curls her lips. She's like no way,
yeah,
no,
like,
no.
The girl you would never want to be friends with
ever.
The
one that you would never want your brother to marry.
Right.
I don't even have a brother, but if I did, I don't think I'd want her to marry her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly
how
it is.
That's the one that you know, because she plays, here's the thing too, when people play tit for tat all the time, she's tit for tat, she's always going to stoop lower and lower and lower. Like she'll never rise above and be like, okay,
you know what I did like though? When we talk about her and Raquel, and she was like, I didn't really like that, and
all the women.
No, and Renee and Karen, they both stepped in for her, and they were like, yeah, that was wrong. Like, he leaves you for a younger woman.
That.
I like that. Even though all these women fight, they all seem to kind of stand up for each other against the outside world. And by the outside world, I mean anybody who isn't those women.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I thought that was really cool. I wrote that down, too. Like, I loved how they all kind of came to her side and defended her.
And the time that I like Carla best, honestly, is when she was with Joe. Like, when we saw her at the pizza shop, and we, like... So, I don't know.
I did think it was cool even the way Carla apologized to Renee, but even in her apology, it wasn't 100% just rising above and sincere. It was just like, I know I said something that were bad, but you said something that were really mean to me and that really affected my feelings too.
Right.
But I said some things too, and...
You either say sorry or you don't.
Yeah. I hate those, like, sorry with contingencies or sorries like but. And, like, it's just the way she was apologizing. I was like, come on, just apologize. If you really feel bad, you don't have to dig it in how, Renee said bad things too. It's like... Ugh.
Although, here's what I will say. What I will say about that is you should never look at somebody and use that, say, you're a junkie, like, da-da-da. That's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's not going to help their addiction. But I do understand if Renee was calling Carla a like a homewrecker, and that's calling her out for something she actually was, Carla went back at Renee for something she actually was.
Yeah.
These were not low blows like you're a bitch, you're mean, I hate you. These were real legitimate things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, even I do think they both owed each other an apology.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't think in their apologies they should have talked about how the other one should apologize.
Yeah, I know. I agree. But it, like we said before, it does seem like they have somewhat of a bond or some kind of a connection or something.
Well, they've all known each other a long time. It seems.
Yeah. It seems like it. They all have some kind of historical connection.
They're mob wives.
Yeah. Let's see. What else about Carla? I don't know. I think that's it. I mean, they did have some low blows, like Ramona, and I think she called Carla racist about something. And then they kept on talking about how, like, Carla does this, like, you girls, and they just didn't like being lumped in together with love and everybody.
I thought that was an interesting point, and also how they talk about how Carla drags everybody else's families in, but she doesn't want her family on TV.
Yeah.
So both those things, like clumping people together and bringing other people's outside baggage in, just made me not love Carla so much.
Yeah, it did. Unfortunately.
And I want to. Sometimes when you're watching a TV show and you're like, I want that person to be the enemy.
Yeah.
I so badly don't want Carla to be the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know if I care that much if she's the enemy or not. Like, I liked her, but I didn't love her. And like,
oh my God.
What?
I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes.
Yeah.
About the Ku Klux Klan comment.
Well, that's why I mentioned that. Like, that Ramona said Carla was racist.
Yeah, but said that she was like the modern day Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. That's a strong saying.
That's a very strong sentence.
Yeah, it is. Those are fighting words. And
those are fighting words.
I don't know what she meant by that. They didn't really show her do anything like that during the
when you were
series.
saying the you girls, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
We didn't see any of that. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this after show was like almost about a whole other season that I didn't even, but that hasn't aired.
Well, the problem is that love wasn't there. The whole season was about love. Really. The whole thing revolved around this made up weird issue between Love and Carla. And so the fact that Love wasn't there at the end to give her side and to provide her perspective, to me, it was just like fell so flat. Because you can't create an entire season that revolves around these two women, build it up. It ends with this crazy fight. And then in the reunion, she's not there.
Right.
Even have her, what I always thought they were going to do is they're going to interview her separate. And 10 minutes of an interview with her and give her side of the story.
Something must have gone really wrong to not include her.
Something. Like, even on, like, the Housewives of Beverly Hills, like, this one of the couples got a divorce, and they brought the guy they didn't bring him back, but they filmed, 5 minutes of him.
Yeah.
And you get some closure, you get something. I didn't get that here because I didn't see Love. I didn't get to get that experience. So.
Right.
Well, so I think that wraps it up.
Yep, that pretty much covers it. I'm looking through
Unless there's anything else.
Nope.
But yeah, so guys, if you're listening to this, go to iTunes, rate us, comments. This is our last episode. So sad.
But if they want us back for next season, we need those comments.
We need the comments. And we're Roxy and I are just trying to figure out another show to do together.
Oh, yeah, we need help on that too.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new shows coming up. So if you guys have ideas and all that.
Summer shows,
yeah.
So I'll be tan and prettier.
I know, me too. Yay. Like you aren't pretty already.
Oh,
I'm not saying tan, but pretty. All right. So I think that's it. Where can everyone find you?
On Twitter at Roxy Striar. And you can tweet at me the new shows or tweet at you where?
Yes, I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and you can find me on Twitter at Erika Vieira LA. That's ErikaVieira LA. And I forgot to mention, I'm wearing my fur vest to
I know
be
you're so mob
rocking the Mob Wives look. At least trying with my bling and all that. I had to this last episode.
And you look fabulous, darling.
Fabulous. I just don't have those fighting chops to fit in with the women, but I can try fashion.
We can work on it.
We can work on it. All right.
Until next season.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Woohoo!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.